So voter fraud has long been only a figment of President Trump's imagination with so few cases confirmed. They barely even move the needle. That's why some news out of North Carolina is so disturbing. Our senior political analyst, John Avlon, has your reality check. Sir.
That's right, guys. Voter fraud. You know, it's one of President Trump's favorite bogeymen. He called it out before the midterm elections, launched a commission to find it, and repeatedly blamed it without evidence for losing the 2016 popular vote. But voter fraud is vanishingly rare in the United States, as study after study has shown. Voter suppression, far bigger problem. Which is why it's big news that voter fraud is being credibly alleged in one North Carolina congressional race. And wait for it, fingers are pointing at the Republican campaign. Republicans have held North Carolina's 9th district since 1963. But this year it saw not just a close primary, but also a close general election. First incumbent Congressman Robert Pittenger narrowly lost the primary to a pastor named Mark Harris, who gained some national attention for statements like wives should submit to their husbands and his belief that the earth is less than 10,000 years old. Now, after the general election, it looked like Harris eked out a 905-vote win over Democrat and former Marine Dan McCready at around 250,000 cast. But late last week, the North Carolina Board of Elections voted across party lines to postpone certification of Harris as the winner. Something's rotten in the North Carolina 9th, specifically the rural counties of Bladen and Robeson. Now, both had much higher than average requests for absentee ballots. Nothing sinister there. But a whopping 40% of absentee ballots requested by African Americans were never returned, according to the Raleigh News and Observer. That's compared with just 17% of white voters' ballots. Now, a local political blogger named Michael Blitzer analyzed the absentee ballot returns in impressive detail. And he found that Harris won more than 61% of absentee votes in Bladen County, but with just 19% of those ballots being from registered Republicans. Blitzer determined that, quote, Harris would have also received almost all the registered unaffiliated voters and some Democrat registered voters to make it to 62% of the vote. So this is perhaps possible, but extremely unlikely. So was Harris's performance in the primary, where he claimed 96% of absentee ballots in Bladen. In addition, so far 6 official complaints have been filed, including at least 2 alleging that their ballots were collected unsealed by a stranger, which is not just frowned upon, but illegal. All this is shady and definitely deserving of further investigation. Now, the vote for the Republican has so many irregularities that there could end up being a new election, which is possibly why we haven't heard boo about it from the president yet. But he might want to consult his own speech from July 19th, 2017, when he said this.
This is not a Democrat or a Republican issue. It's an American issue. Theodore Roosevelt once said, "It is the affair of every honest voter, wherever born, to see that no fraudulent voting is allowed."
If it's a real principle, rather than just partisan fear-mongering, it should apply to both parties equally. And that's your reality check.
Watching that very closely, and it's not over yet there, John. Thank you so much for bringing it to our attention.
Thanks, guys.